We're going to be reviewing the Etek 5 today, and we are going to be comparing against the Empire Axe. So we're going to do the comparison first, then we're going to do a teardown on the Etek 5. So, both come in nice cardboard boxes. Everybody's familiar with the Axe by now, probably. It's been the reigning mid-champion, mid-gun marker for a long time. Comes with foam, comes with a barrel saw, comes with a parts kit. However, it does not come with a case. So I should say right now it's May 2015. Man, time flies. And price currently on the Empire Axe is about $460. It's about $100 more right now for the Etek 5. So we're going to go ahead and set this aside. Etek 5 comes in a cardboard box. Then we have a hardshell gun case for it. So, Etek comes with a color manual, very detailed, very nice. The Empire one comes with a CD. The Empire Axe comes with a CD-ROM. Both come with barrel socks, obviously. One thing to note is the Etek does not come with grease. It comes with oil. So if you want grease, you have to purchase it separately. Pretty much everybody already has grease, though, unless it's your first marker you're buying. So let's go ahead and pull it out. Mine is in gray. You can see it's still quite a bit dirty. And what we'll do is we'll kind of set them over each other. So the Etek 5 is actually a little bit longer foregrip. The weight's very similar between the two guns. They're both right around 2 pounds. I think the Etek is just a little bit lighter. But, first thing you notice when you pick up this gun is the front foregrip. It is absolutely fantastic. The ergonomics on that are just simply amazing. First time you pick it up, it feels like it's meant for your hands. Empire Axe. The back, it's great. If you compare them both side by side, Etek wins hands down. It feels better on the back grip. It feels better on the front grip than the Axe. Etek 5 actually really is a fantastic gun, but the trigger on this thing, not that great. That's the biggest disappointment for me in it, is the trigger. It's so light, it just feels cheap. It's got a micro switch activation, but when you pick it up and you feel it, it'll be the first thing you notice. And triggers are subjective, so everybody likes different things. My Axe, I have it set to a very stiff trigger. And I guess the Axe, for the mid-range markers is a golden standard. There's guns that cost more that have worse triggers than the Axe for sure. Ball bearing in there, no side-to-side slop. It's just a great trigger. Etek, yeah, a little bit of room to be desired there. Let's talk about on-off ASAs. And this might be a little bit of a big deal for you guys with, I shouldn't say a big deal because you only do it once a day. But if you have a Pro V2 regulator on your tank, the actuation with the Etek is a little bit stiffer when you're turning it. I gotta say, one of the disappointments with the Etek series is having to twist on and off. It's like the same as the ETHA. It's not the best. The Axe is a lever, flip lever. No problems when I run the Pro V2 on it. I don't have any problems with the extra resistance. For some reason, though, this guy it seems to struggle with the ball bearing in the Pro V2, and lots of things can't even work with that. I mean, I got remote lines I can't use with the Pro V2. So, feed necks. Axe feed neck is metal, but it's not the best right here. It's metal. It's got some grit inside here, so your hopper's not going to spin. But as far as range of motion in here, you have to really use your Allen quite a bit compared to some other feed necks on the market. Planning Eclipse one, It's a GRN material. It's a reinforced, composite material. Same thing as our frame here. And it actually isn't that bad. You get a lot more range of motion here before you have to pull out your Allen wrench. The only negative side is it's slick in here, so even when it's tight, you still get some movement. It's not going to mar up your hopper though. Which I should say, I've never had my axe mar up my hopper, but yeah, there's a difference between the two. So let's talk about some of the other characteristics about them. Air efficiency, they're both pretty efficient. The axe gets around 8 to 8.5 pods, and the Etek gets anywhere from 9 to 10.5, something like that, depending on how close you are to the 4,500 mark. Kick on both guns is pretty good. The shot quality on them is really great. Not compared to a high end, but compared to most mid-range markers, it's you compare it to like a G4 or Mini. Axe shot quality is a lot better. Etek's is a lot better. Is an LV1? No. And why am I comparing the Etek to the axe? Everybody compares the Etek 5 to the LV1 because it design style looks fairly similar to it, but it's missing that lever valve internally that makes the LV1. When you first shoot an LV1, it feels like it's shooting under chrono. It feels like it's shooting about 150 feet per second. It's just very smooth. Etek 5 has a little bit of that, but not as much. Its shot quality is still great. Its sound signature is better than the Etek 4, not as quiet as the axe. This one has a more loud and abrupt sound, where this one, its sound signature is like a little bit longer in feeling, if that makes any sense. So stock, they both use LEDs. Foregrip here in the axe, LED in the back here. You can upgrade this to an OLED board with just the actual board itself. You open the front grip, pull the board out, stick it on, put it back in, you're good to go. And I think that runs around 80 bucks. The axe, however, you can get different boards. You have to change the foregrip to get an OLED in there. There's a few different aftermarket ones that have some different workarounds. They maybe change it here. But it's more money. The Redline board is pretty expensive for it. And that's what separates Axe from the Pro, plus a few other little things here and there. Weight, they're pretty similar in weight. Etek is a little bit lighter. Etek gets a little bit more efficiency. The Axe trigger is better, in my opinion anyway. Better on-off ASA. Slightly better feed neck, just because it has that little bit of grit in there for the hopper, so the hopper's not going to turn. You don't have to get it as tight. Etek, you almost feel like you're going to snap it so it doesn't move. Again, it's because it has no bite inside here, whereas the axe does. I don't know if I can get it in the lighting I have here. Yeah, there you go. They're both pretty complete out of the box. It's nice with the case with the Etek. I don't know if it's $100 nicer, but the brittleness that the Etek can shoot, it can shoot a lot, I guess a lot more tournament level paint than the axe can. My axe, I remember one day we were using Evil in it, and I was getting about 1 and 2 out of 20 balls breaking in the barrel, which is really annoying. The Etek, same paint. No breaks, no barrel breaks. I've never had a single barrel break in there yet. Assuming you have your LPR adjusted and everything cycling, you're not going to be chopping. You got the Cure 5 bolt in there, which is they say it's the same one as the LV1, but same tip, slightly different design if you look at them side by side, but they are very, very similar. So if we get into maintenance on these guns, the axe, you pull it apart, you clean it. Everything's right here that you need to service for this thing to run properly. If you guys don't know, it's just one push button, you twist, pull it out. Etek, based on its nature of being a poppet, and the axe is an inline poppet, You have to pull the bolt out. You have a rammer back here. You have your LPR here, and you have your high pressure regulator here. Yeah, it's a little bit more on the Etek 5. Not horrible. If you're familiar with any sort of poppet, not that bad, and there's plenty of online videos everywhere. Pull our front grip off next. Here's our SL4 regulator on this. So here's where you adjust your HPR. There's a piston in there. Let's go ahead and pull the tuning fork out. So the tuning fork should come out relatively easy. It holds in our poppet spring and our high pressure regulator. So it really is a tuning fork. We got our poppet spring. It's actually a little bit too greasy in here. I had some problems with my Etek 5. I had a leak that was difficult to trace down because of the front grip on here. It was only leaking after about 2 cases of paint. So you can imagine how trying to find that on the field. In a second, you would disconnect your macro line, the leak would stop, and it'd take another, I don't know, case of paint for it to start leaking again. So it's pretty frustrating. But it turned out to be from the LPR in here. It was leaking out of this hole here. And we have our poppet. It fell out. We got our LPR spring in here. So when you're doing a little bit of servicing, you're not going to have to touch your high pressure and low pressure regulators every time. You just want to clean your bolt. Some people like to oil them, some people don't. You know, it is exposed bolt, so you are going to get more breech wear in there as opposed to the axe where it's contained, it's closed. You have your rammer in here that you need to pull apart every now and again. But overall, it's not that bad. Like I said, there's plenty of YouTube videos out there on this. I don't know if I'm going to be able to... Yeah, there we go. But it's got a nice weight to it. The shot quality on the Etek 5 shoots right about around an Ego 11 that's darted. Not as good as a LV1, but not bad. Not bad at all. You know, if you don't mind having a macro line on your gun that costs almost 600 bucks, Etek 5 is actually a very good gun. You know, the ability for it to handle the fragile paint, its efficiency, its negatives of the trigger, and the sound signature, I guess, you know, but most people don't care about the sound. Alright, so now that's back together, the big question is, which one would I pick if I had to pick again? And I guess that question for me is pretty evident right now, as I'm actually going to be selling one of these. I'll be going for a pump instead. If I had to sell one, which one would I sell? Keeping the Etek, selling the axe. You know, the feel of it, just I guess the width, you know, it's so long, it's got that nice good feeling on it. I've become accustomed to the trigger now. You know, you really do get used to it. You know, its feel, it is a little bit louder, but it's the feel in your hands just trumps anything the axe can do. You know, the axe is a fine marker. Its trigger's really great. They're a hell of a value used, but the ability to shoot the brittle paint, the feeling in the hands, I'm keeping the Etek. So if you have any questions, let me know. Be happy to answer them. Talk to you later.